while we have, we'll go ahead and get started by some people are coming back in the bathroom. So, make sure you have your passport and your social studies book out with your snap. Okay, passport and social studies book. Pencil. Yep. Great, pencil. Alright, while you're getting that out, real quick, let's review what are the places that we've stopped at so far. Just go ahead. Hershey. Where was our first stop? West Quoddy Head Lighthouse. What was our second stop? Just go ahead. Say it. Mount Washington. Come on. You guys know these? Plymouth. Hershey. We already said Hershey. Jace, where was our next one?
Boston, Massachusetts.
New York City. Remember New York? We went 2 places. Where were the 2 places? Just go ahead. And New York City. Okay? Anywhere else that we've gone? The Empire State Building. Where else? Yep. Philly, we went yesterday. Anywhere else? Did we miss anything? We went to Hershey. We already said Hershey. I think we got them all. Yep. Yesterday. Philly, right? Philadelphia. Alright, so today we're going to go to Washington, D.C. Hold it. Alright, this will be another one of our stops that we actually get, quote unquote, off the train. Okay? We're going to work with our partners again on an activity. But first, we need to we're going to listen to our tour guide. Our tour guide is going to take us to Washington, D.C., which is known as our nation's capital. Your books, yes, buddy. You can turn the first 2, especially. Not yet. There you go. Perfect. Page 70 in your book is where Washington, D.C. So make sure you're following along as our tour guide is reading and taking us on our tour. Are we ready?
Does this building look familiar to you? It is the Capitol Building, one of the great landmarks of the city of Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is our nation's capital, the home of our national government. Here, the people who have the power to make decisions for our country do their jobs. The work of our government is important because the government creates the rules we live by. Picture what life would be like without rules. Think about it as you leave the train to visit Washington, D.C.
Okay, so now we're leaving these, we're going to get off the train. But what was the one thing that she wants us to think about? What is Washington, D.C. big or known for? Violet?
Where the government makes like the rules that we follow.
Right. So D.C. is where our government gets together to make rules that we need to follow for our safety, okay? And to help things run in an order. So we are going to get off and we're going to do an activity that's going to talk about rules. Why do we have rules? What are the rules for? What's the purpose of them? So in your groups, so I will have, Violet, what group did you work with last time over there?
Ava and
Okay, can you work with them again? And Eli, you work up here with Landon and Jace, okay? So you're working with your group. You are going to get, I'm going to hand you this paper. This handout says, the first part, you are going to think of the following places in your school. Your classroom, the lunchroom, and the playground. Which of these places have rules? Write one rule for each place. So you're going to write one rule for your classroom. What is one rule we have here in the classroom? What is one rule that is in the lunchroom? What is one rule you have on the playground? You need to talk about it as your group and decide what rule. Then, your next step will be you're going to pick one of those rules from above. So you're going to pick one that you had from the classroom or the lunchroom or the playground. And in your group, you're going to discuss what might happen if that rule didn't exist. So, for example, if the rule is in our classroom, no running in our classroom. What if Mrs. Amos didn't have that rule in her classroom? What would happen? Okay, oh, I don't want, this is what you're going to do. Okay, then I'm going to stop there. Then we're going to talk, the bottom part, about some positives and some negatives about rules and laws. But we're going to do that together. So you're going to do number 1 and number 2 as your group. Okay? Alright, so if you are moving, go ahead and move up to your group. So Elijah, come on up here. Violet, go ahead and go back. I'm going to give you maybe like 5 minutes to write these down and discuss. This should really not take too long to do because these are rules that you guys should know right off the top of your head. No problem. Okay, think about it. What is a classroom rule? Talk about it. Write it down. Make sure you're writing a rule for each one. Talk with your group. Talk with your group. What is a rule? What's a classroom rule that we have? No, you're stealing my rule. Okay. What about lunchroom? It is still. It's an important rule. Okay. I'm not in the lunchroom. I don't know. Sorry. Are you calling? Thank you. Fun. Oh, P-H-O-N-E. Oh, if you're making it plural, you add a S. Because there's already an E. You're just adding an S. We just did that, didn't we? Alright, well, what about lunchroom? What's the rule in the lunchroom? Alright, you have a couple more minutes. Don't forget number 2. Take one of those rules and talk about what would happen if that rule did not exist. What would happen on the playground if your rule didn't exist? Brayden, what would happen in the lunchroom if that rule didn't exist? Oh, maybe he'll share. Might tell ya. Oh, say what you got. Okay, got about another minute or so. Huh? Think about the. Okay, in that spot of number 2, I know there's not much space there, but you can go ahead and write a little small part about what would happen if that rule that you picked is not, if that rule didn't exist. Why is it important to have that rule? No, don't do the negative yet. We're gonna do that back together. Yes. Are you done? So let's remember, we're not doing the positive and the negative things yet. We're just doing number 1 and number 2. Number 3 is not. We are not doing number 3 yet. Nope, I did not. I actually explained that from the very beginning. I said we're doing 1 and 2, and we're going to do 3 together. When you're done, give me a thumbs up when your group is done. You're not done. You have to write right here what would happen if that rule didn't exist. What you can circle, like you can circle if you're going to do playground, you can circle playground. Okay, lunchroom. If that rule in the lunchroom didn't exist, what would happen? All right, you have 30 seconds. Yes, Elijah. Right there, it's just, you can circle lunchroom or playground, and then you can just write it right there under number 2. It's fine. Okay, so while some of you might be just finishing up on that number 2 part, who wants to share one of their rules and why that, maybe the rule that you picked, and then also explain what would happen if it didn't exist? Colton.
That no running up the slides.
Okay.
If there's a kid sliding and you're running up the slide, you're trash.
Yeah, so some of the rules on the playground, like not running up the slides, is important because if not, people can get hurt, right? Okay? Cooper.
Don't share food with other people
Okay, why is that an important rule?
because they might have allergies or they might be sick and they don't
Good.
know.
Alright, it is nice for us to share with our friends. However, when it comes to food, a lot of people have allergies to things. Somebody might be sick. You don't want to share that part of a friendship with somebody. Okay. Christina. Oh, no phones allowed. Now, why would no phones in class be an important rule?
If phones were allowed in class, kids would just cheat on tests.
Okay, they could cheat on tests. What else would phones be?
And
They could play games. Do you think they would be pretty much a distraction?
Yeah.
Yeah, would be a big distraction, right? Okay, one more. I think Bentley really wants to share. What's yours, Bentley? I think a couple other people might have the same rule. No food fights. Why is it important not to have food fights in the lunchroom or in the classroom?
people would be getting hurt by tortillas, not food.
Look,
A tortilla fight.
let me ask you this. What is another reason why having a food fight in the cafeteria probably isn't a good idea, William?
Because the custodian would have to clean up the whole mess.
Yes. You're going to make more work for the custodian, who already works hard to keep our school clean. So it is important. That is also a way to show respect to our custodian by not making more of a mess than we already do. Okay, good. So what I want you to do, let's go down to the bottom part. Turn this back on. And we're going to start listing some positives and negatives about rules and laws. So remember, this part isn't just about the rules or the laws that we have here at school. We're talking about in general. Why is it important for us to have rules? Why is it, what are some of the positives towards that? What are some of the negatives towards that? I'm going to put that right here. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to freeze it. So that way, because you know how much he likes to bump the desk all the time. Okay, who can give me some positive? They can be short little phrases. What is something that's positive? Why is it a good thing that we have rules? Violet.
Because if we didn't have rules, then people could be doing like all the things that they shouldn't be doing, like climbing up the side and like
Okay. So,
shouting.
so- okay, let's think about this. Rules and laws. Let's talk about not so much as in school, but in the world. Why do we have a government that makes rules? What is the point of them making rules or laws for us as people?
For like, that would be good because then people could wouldn't get into like trouble.
Okay, so it's to protect people, okay? Protect others and themselves, right? Protect others and self, okay? The rules aren't always, or the laws aren't always there just for other people. It's also for yourself, okay? What's another positive reason, Marley? Okay, so does that go back to protecting others? We have a speed limit, so that way cars aren't getting in accidents. They still do, but like I told you, remember when I told you when I went to Germany, we drove on this road, there was no speed limit. I was pretty scared sitting in the car as my brother-in-law was driving over 100 miles per hour. It was scary. I don't think I would want to be behind a car going that fast, okay? So, again, most of our rules and our laws are there to protect others and ourselves. What's another reason we have laws? If our school, let's just take our school for instance, if our school had no rules, no laws, what would everybody be doing? Tanner?
Anything they wanted.
They would do anything they want.
Having fun.
Do you think there would be a little bit of chaos?
Not
A little bit of crazy?
Just a little.
You think a lot? A lot?
Just a little.
Just a little?
think just
Let's say, okay, let's say that there would be, it keeps order. Do you think laws and rules keep order? Keep things calm sometimes? Okay? So they help keep order. And I'm gonna put in here, control chaos. Okay? Control chaos. Anything else? Can anybody think of any other positives for having rules or laws? Hunter?
If we didn't have rules, people would be
Yeah, it would be very unsafe in a lot of areas, maybe. Okay, that kind of goes back to the protecting. It kind of helps protect us and protect others. Okay, real quick, anything else? Ava?
the environment might get hurt.
Okay, so not only is it to protect others and self, like people, but it's also to keep the environment livable. Did I spell that right? Okay. Like livable. Sometimes I have to pull out Google. Alright, so these are good ones.
Me.
What about negatives? What are some negatives with having rules? Not everybody likes them, but why? What would be a negative, Jace?
I didn't want to say negative.
Oh, do you have a positive?
No, it's just.
Okay, would you like to come up front and look? You are more than welcome to come up here and write it down. Eli, what is a negative about having rules and laws?
If everybody's running, somebody could get hurt.
Okay, so people could get hurt. Okay, that would be more in the positive where they're there to protect. As far as negatives, what is a negative about having laws and rules? Violet?
People can't do whatever they want.
Yeah, people can do what they want. Sorry, Chase, I'll get out of your way. Ever. Okay. What else? What else might be a negative? This one's maybe a little bit trickier. think about, yes.
We can't have as much fun.
Okay, so that goes back into doing whatever they want, yes. People look at it as it's restricting them from being able to do everything that they want to do. Same thing, yep. Christina? Okay, a negative about rules is that people could go to jail if they don't follow them, right? So there's a negative about rules, but what could change that? If you don't want to go to jail, maybe you should follow the rule. Same thing like at school. If you don't want to go recess, maybe we should get our homework done. Or maybe we should line up quietly. Maybe we should walk in the hallway. Maybe we shouldn't have a food fight in the cafeteria. I think you probably lose more than recess, but hey, you never know.
She wants 100% off expensive toys.
Negative about rules and laws, Jace wouldn't get 100% of toys.
Cooper.
Cooper.
You would have to pay for stuff?
Negative, yep. You would have to pay. That's kind of the same thing. People wouldn't be able to do what they want. Hunter? You can't steal. Yep. There would be what we talked here are positives, keep the order. If negative about rules, if we didn't have them, we would have what? What is that? What is that word, Tanner?
That's not
Not
even
close.
a sentence.
We would, you're right, I do that all the time, Jace. Hold on. Let me fix it, remember? I make mistakes too. We would have, this word is kind of hard because it doesn't, I feel like it doesn't look like how you pronounce it. Cora,
Chaos.
we would have chaos. There would be chaos. People would be running all over the streets. People would be doing whatever they want. Right? Yeah. Okay, so what DC does is helps provide us with the rules and the laws that we need to make everything run smoothly. Keep people safe. Still protect our law, or protect our rights as people. What we can do, what we can't do. Okay? So, we're going to get back on our train. So this paper, this is a paper that you can take home. Take it home. Share with your parents. Talk about kind of what we talked about rules in our classroom. You guys can hold it. Everybody have a seat. Everybody, you don't need to put it away now. So when we do put stuff away, that piece of paper may go home. The rest of it, remember, you want to keep. Okay, so let's get back on our train. Let me unfreeze this. Jace, do you have all that written down, bud?
Yes.
Okay, so I can erase it? Alright, thank you. Okay, so we went through our paper. We talked about rules in school. The rules that we have in school. Okay, we talked about all the different places, why they're important, pros and cons. Now we're going to follow along the bottom section of it, and our tour guide is going to take us, continue our tour on this.
Welcome back. Let me tell you a bit more about our government's rules or laws. Our government's laws help to make sure that each person's rights are protected. Our rights include the right to life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness. The government also works for the common good. This means that it tries to act in ways that serve all people, not just a few. Our government seeks to provide an equal chance for all people, and it tries to treat all people fairly. Our government is a republic. In a republic, the power lies with the people, and they exercise their power by electing leaders. The Constitution says that Americans can choose representatives to make laws for them. People choose representatives by voting in elections. Voting is a key part of being a good citizen.
Okay. So, I'm gonna skip this part for a second. I want you to go ahead and get your passport open it up to our DC spot. And let's go ahead and kind of mark some key facts that we learned about DC and our government. What does it do? Why is it important? You can tell me, what is one thing that we learned on our tour about DC? Remember, you have your book in front of you. It has a lot of the information for you, even if you couldn't follow along. What is something, Eli?
DC is our nation's capital.
Yeah, DC is our nation's capital. Now, if you can't see this, you are more than welcome to come up here as long as you're making sure you're writing this down. So, number one is I'm not going to walk Washington because we know we're here. Okay, this is our nation's capital. Okay? Nation's capital. What does our nation's capital mean? It's the home of what? Bentley. If you look on page 70, the second paragraph, it starts with Washington, D.C. Read those couple sentences, or read the sentence. Yep, it's home of our national government. Okay, let me ask you a question. This is something that you would have thought that as an adult I would know, but I did learn, okay? We have our nation's capital right here. The second fact is about our Capitol building. Now, our nation's capital and Capitol building. Is one of these spelled wrong?
Yes.
Is it?
It's
This is supposed to be A-L? So, this is what I learned, okay? It's actually, they're both spelled correctly.
What?
They kind of mean something different. Now, you can write this down here for you, so to remind you, but this is the difference. The O-L in Capitol building is like the physical building. It's a physical structure, okay? In the A-L, our nation's capital is like is a city, okay? So this is a physical structure or building where nation's capital A-L is like the city. Okay, does that make sense? Hey, it was I learned something new today, or not today, but doing this as well. I didn't really pay close attention to the difference, I guess. But now I know, like, if I'm talking about the Capitol building, the actual building structure, it's an OL. If I'm talking about the city of Washington, D.C. as in the nation's capital, it's an AL. Okay? Just a cool little fact. All right. Okay, hold on, let's go back here. Capitol building. What is the Capitol building? Why is that so important to D.C.? Violet?
It's where the government makes laws.
Okay, so I'm going to go down here to number 3. Okay, Washington, D.C. is where the government makes the laws. Okay? Now, the Capitol building. Remember, the Capitol building is one of the greatest landmarks in Washington, D.C. Okay? So our Capitol building, we can put one of the it's okay, take your time, greatest landmarks. And I'm gonna make this short for you in DC. Okay? So you don't have to write out the big old Washington in DC. Now, it's okay. I'm just gonna talk while you're writing. It's okay. Our government makes laws. What did our tour guide or our book share with us about our government? What kind of government are we considered? What kind of government do we have? I will give you a hint. It is in your book, in the very last paragraph of that page. What is our government called? Ava. Yes, we are considered the national government. However, what type of government do we have? William.
A republic?
Yes, our government is republic. What does that mean? What does republic mean? We are almost done. What does republic mean? William.
The power that lies with the people?
Yes. The people have the power. We have the power by doing what?
Oh, voting.
Voting. We have the power by voting. So people have the power. Have the power by voting. Okay. Okay. While you're finishing that up, don't get up yet. While some people are finishing writing, let's talk a little bit about. We talked about rules at school. We talked about rules in our world, what we have. Okay, let's talk about some. Somebody mentioned one of the rules being like the speed limit. If we didn't have a speed limit, people could get in possibly more accidents, more people could get hurt. So that's one reason why we have the rules. What might be some more rules, or discuss why rules and laws are not only important for us here at school, but they're important for us in life. What are some of those rules that are important, that are set in stone? We have the speed limit, okay? Voting ages. Remember, we have voting. Remember back when we took our trip to Plymouth, had our little Mayflower, we talked about voting. Didn't we get to do an activity? We got to decide which type of government or rulers we would want.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did most of us, I don't know if any of us, why didn't we choose 10 and over? Why did we not choose 10 and over? Bentley.
Because they want to make good decisions.
Why would a 11-year-old not make a good decision? Yeah. Their brains, or your guys' brains, I would think like if you guys were to make some rules for, you'd be like, I don't want to go to school. I just want to stay home and play Xbox. That's going to be my rule. Not 60 minutes of iReady a week. I want 60 hours of Xbox time. That might be your rule. So sometimes the younger kids, not that they can't make good choices, but to allow them to make the rules for everybody, their brains aren't thinking that high, okay? They're not thinking about what I need to remember to do when I'm driving, okay? So their brains just aren't developed maturely enough yet at that point. Another one is driver license. Why do we have a law that says that you can't drive or get your license and depending on which state you're at, till you're 16 or 17. Why do we have that rule, William?
Because some people would be too small to see out of the window.
True.
Or maybe it's too small for the head.
Yep, true. Hey, I would joke about having to sit on a phone book. I was too short. I was always like this because my legs are too short. Brayden?
Kids like would drive like crazy
Yeah.
and maybe get into
Yeah.
crashes.
Sometimes, I guess we think that at 16, you are mentally mature enough to handle a vehicle. Not sure if I completely agree with that, having 2 and soon to be 3 kids driving. Sometimes I'm like, I think you can hold off and get your license maybe when you're 17 or 17 and a half. It all depends, but we have to have a starting point, right? We have to have a starting point to go from there. Now, that is why we have that driver license requirement. It is required to be a certain age. PA, you can't get your permit till you're 16. You can get your license at 16 and a half. Where I'm from, where I grew up in Illinois, we got our permit at 15 and a half. I was able to get my license when I was 16. Do I think I was, back then I thought I was ready. Because it gave me freedom. But was I really ready? I don't know if I'd let my kids get it at 15 and a half. I don't know if they're ready. Not when I was 16 in Illinois. When I was 15 I did, but that's the thing. So it's all different. Each state has rules. Okay? A bunch of different rules. Okay? So let's review real quick. Why is it important that we have laws and rules for school and for life? Eli.
So if someone does something bad, they can like make sure they don't do it again.
There are some things that are not safe for you or for other people, and it helps us be responsible and have consequences for actions that are not appropriate for school or for life in general. Okay? Okay, good job. You can go ahead and take this